Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so today's video is going to be about why are women always unhappy and what to do about it, or the truth that no one tells you. Now here's the deal. I have to start it off with this. Women are different. It depends on who you're dealing with, what their childhood was like, what their hormones are like, etc., etc. Now here's the real deal. It's really not women, it's people. Okay? So you have to understand, see, because you're a man, you're dealing with women, you're like, well, women this and women that. Well, humans are different. Some people just have this chemistry where they're happy, where they're fun to be around, where they're just good people. Part of it is they're raised that way. Part of it is some people were abused. Some people, whatever. Some people are just spoiled brats. And some people had something really, really traumatic happen in their life. Okay, so my ex-girlfriend, she was born in 1971. She was a little bit younger than me. She came over at the end of the Vietnam War. Now, she was Laotian. Now, the Laotian people got pulled into the war by the United States. There was a general over there, I can't remember his name right now, who invited the United States in, and they allowed us to land our planes there, and they also did military support for us, okay? So that drew the Laotian people into the war, and the Laotian people in general didn't like this. They did not want to be involved in the conflict. So essentially, simply because this one general did this, he made a lot of money. America paid him. A lot of Laotian people, because the Vietnamese got pissed off and they started attacking Laos, and they were killing Laotian people, etc., etc. This is probably going to be a 2 or 3 part video series. So my ex-girlfriend, they came over around 70, man, I don't remember how old they were, 75 or 74, 76, something like that. So she was this little kid, and she was really quiet about it. She never talked about what she went through. So I'm going to get real briefly. So here she is, this little kid born into war. Like literally, that's all she knew. And when you're in a war zone, the people around you become very kind of hardened. They become very scared. They're not open emotionally. They shut down. So that's how she grew up, and she was a very shut down person. Now, she never talked about it until one day I finally said, like, so how did you guys get here? And she kind of looked at me. And she opened up. Now, this was probably the second year into it. She just flat out said, she goes, well, we had to sneak out of our country. I'm like, well, what do you mean? So apparently their own soldiers didn't want their Laotian people to leave their country. Now, why and what that meant, I don't know. So what they had to do was they had to sneak down these trails and pathways, and they would meet other people that were kind of like, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like guides. And so they would have to avoid the soldiers so they wouldn't be killed. And then they had to avoid the other soldiers from the other side so they wouldn't be killed. So here she is, this little kid. And she goes, when I was a little kid, I would just like laugh and cry and complain. And I'm like, what do you mean? You didn't realize like the danger? She goes, oh no, I knew exactly what was going on. I understood that we could be killed at any moment. She goes, I just didn't care. So she even said at one point some of her family members would literally put their hands over her mouth and they'd hide in the bush, and and I'm like, so why didn't you care? She goes, I knew I could get us killed, but I didn't. I think, she didn't really explain why, but I think it was like as a little kid, this is all she knew. It was frustrating. It was hard for her to deal with life, and she just kind of gave up. She had seen some of her family members get shot and killed when they were running away and had to leave them behind. And so there were some pretty harsh things that she grew up with at a very, very young age. And then in the 70s, mid-70s or so, when they came here, white people or people in general kind of treated them like shit. They were absolutely poor. I'll tell you one thing my brother did, and it was upsetting to me. It was in the Fairfield, Sassoon area. And we went we were going fishing. We went into a bait store to get some food, and some people that were from either Vietnam or Laos were in there. It's kind of really sad, actually. So when we went out, my brother made fun of them. He didn't really do it in their face, but he did it as we were outside of the store, and he said, yeah, they're buying that food to eat for dinner, and he made a joke out of it. And I was just thinking, like, how sad, because they were just really poor. And so they leave a war-torn country and, just running for their lives coming to this country, and some people were not understanding and they were treating them like crap. So imagine growing up like that. Imagine that being your life. So it was hard for her to be happy. Essentially, she had this shield that was so thick, it disconnected her from reality. And essentially, that's what it was. They were dissociated people. She was dissociated. She was born into this, like, you got to be tough. You got to have this iron shield for emotions. So it's very hard for someone like that to be happy. Then I had a girlfriend who in high school whose brother was killed in an accident when we were in 10th grade, and it was unbelievable. Like, it was so hard. But it wasn't even that, but her family essentially disowned, not in a bad way, but like once someone dies, like, you never talk about them again. And I didn't know this, but she had told me about 2 years later. I think we were juniors or seniors, and I think it was Christmas, and she's just screaming, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And her father, because her parents had divorced shortly after the death, and she's like, we never talk about him, and she was screaming his name, and she goes, my mom and dad have never spoken about him, like he never existed. So here this little girl in 10th grade was told after the funeral, from now on, we never speak his name again. Now, her and her brother were really, really close. They were like best friends, or, whatever you want to say. So she lost the most important person in her life at a young age. Not just lost him, but was never allowed to speak to him again. So her mother literally yells out, Megan, you are not allowed to speak his name again, ever. And the dad just stood there stoic and just stared at me. And I'm like, and Megan's screaming at me, and I'm like, well, like, what am I supposed to do? I was a freaking kid. And then she got mad at me because I didn't say anything. Well, I didn't know anything about this. It was just a bomb that got dropped in my lap, and I didn't know what to do about it. As much as I loved her, she was miserable. And after 3 years of being in a relationship with her, she turned on me, and that's like, no matter what I could do, there was nothing that I could do that was right. So those are extenuating circumstances. Now, there are people that didn't have harsh lives. Sometimes it's because they're spoiled and they're just, nothing was ever good enough, and their mother was this way. They kind of copied their mother. So here's my point. Different people have different circumstances. Different people have different reasons, different psychological makeups, they were raised differently, etc. Now, there are hormonal reasons that women will and can be very miserable, and some women cannot come out of it. Now, I'm going to recommend 3 or 4 books. Number 1, I'm going to recommend The Human Zoo, and then his other book. Now, I'm going to give you the author's name of these 2 books. The other book is called The Naked Ape by Desmond Morris, DesmondMorris. Another book I highly recommend is called Sperm Wars by Robin Baker. Okay, highly recommend that book. You've got to read it. Got to read these books if you really want to understand women. Another book that really kind of shocked me, and it was the number 1 New York Times bestseller for a long, long time in I think it was the late 90s, early 2000s, is The Female Brain by Luann Brizendine, MD. So Louann, Luann Brizendine, Brizendine, MD, medical doctor. So this will help you understand, that last book, The Female Brain, will help you understand the female hormonal system from birth all the way into, to death, like how women shift hormonally. I'm going to give you some things right now. When women hit their mid 40s, maybe just after around 47, it's different age, it's close, but it's not like an exact number. For different women, they hit this early stages of menopause and they become a little girl. They become a teeny bopper again. If you remember Madonna, she literally went through this regal phase of, I'm a woman, and then she went. So she started out as this teeny bopper, pop musician. But then when she got into her 30s, I'm a woman, I'm mature, and all women go through this. And then she became a teeny bopper again. All of a sudden, she was dressed in short skirts. She was flirting around. Everything. She started wearing a lot of makeup. It was weird. Going, what's going on with this woman? She's literally almost 50, and she's acting like she's a teenager in high school again. Now here's what it is. Her hormones are telling her, hey, you only have a couple years to have a child. You are almost barren. And it causes women hormonally to kick into gear to get pregnant one more time. And so they become like a teenage girl. And it's not just like, logic. It's not logic. It is hormones. The hormones take over. And that's something that a lot of men don't understand about women. Like when a woman's hormones shift, those are massive amounts and powerful chemicals that shift and release into her system. And she becomes a different person. You want to have a lot of sex? Those are the women to go for. Here's one more tip that I wouldn't say it was a tip, but it was an understanding that it teaches about hormones. I'll be at a club and I'll see a girl. She'll have high heels on. She'll have red lipstick on, and short cut dress. Short skirt or whatever. Short, low cut blouse to show her breasts, etc. She looks like she's out for, to get sex or to meet a guy, and she's not. A lot of guys are like, dude, that chick's hot. You should go approach her. I'm like, hell no. They're like, why? I'm like, dude, she just got off her period. I'm like, what's that mean? That means she's going to mess with you, and she's going to be like, get the F away from me. Now, here's the deal. After a woman comes off her period, about 24 hours, she shifts over to her left male brain, and it's all about... it's like a list of things. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do that. She went out with her friends because her friends bugged her. Like, come on, you got to get out. You got to get out. She's like, I don't want to go out. I don't want to meet guys. And this is the time when a woman does not want to meet a guy. So when you approach her, trust me, you're going to catch hell. Now, how you can tell is when a woman's in her left brain, her lips don't have as much. So here's what happens. You're in the restrictive brain, which tightens up your muscles, which means blood doesn't flow to the surface of the skin as well. So her lips get more lines and cracks in them. They're not as full. Her face becomes more angular versus when there's a lot of blood underneath the skin. It becomes rounder and softer. Her body moves in a more smooth, natural way versus when she's in her left brain, it's more mechanical, it's more structured. It's more logical. So when you can pick up on these things, I'm like, nope, I'm not going to talk to her because she's going to rip my head off. Here's another thing. When I go to like a restaurant or a grocery store or a coffee shop on a regular basis, I will... okay, here's the deal. So you'll meet a girl and all of a sudden she'll start flirting with you and, hi, how's it going? Be really friendly. And then a couple weeks later, she acts like she doesn't want to talk to you. Well, this is her hormones shifting. So what I do is I just realize she's not in the mood. She's not in that space to be flirty or friendly at all. So you become kind of stoic. Hello. Here you go. Thank you very much. And you just walk out. You don't try to do small talk. You don't try to talk to her. And here's the thing. They'll appreciate that. And then about 10 days later, their hormones are starting to kick in. And all of a sudden, they're all smiling and happy and all attracted again. It's like dealing with different people. Because essentially, it is. One day you're dealing with the male side of her left brain. 10 days later, you're dealing with a feminine right brain, the female processor, a different way of experiencing life. It's about happiness, joy, fun. So if women seem to shift, they do. Now here's the deal. It is really beneficial to be in a long-term relationship at least once or twice. Luckily, I've been in 2 long-term relationships, a 4.5 year and an 8-year relationship, and you see the cycles. Now, when you read the book, The Female Brain and Sperm Wars, you're going to look at women and go, holy shit, because it'll become really obvious. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to say this in this video, and I might stop this video and go on to the next one. You have to understand something above and beyond all of what I just told you. Some women are born with a messed up chemistry. They're just miserable, angry, bitter people. Now, I'm going to turn this back around on you. I know because I went through this in 2 long-term relationships with miserable women. I fell in love. I loved her. All the hell all the bullshit they put me through, I didn't walk away. And that's one thing I've learned in my years. I was around 20 years old when I finally realized I've got to get out of this relationship. She's never going to change. She's not trying to change. She's not going to therapy. She's not doing nothing. But this was after 2 long-term miserable relationships. One of the things that men do, our left brain, or sorry, not our left brain, but yeah, it is our left brain, is linear. It locks onto one thing, and it's really good at that. It's good for hunting, it's good for sports, it's good for feeding the family. We lock onto target like we're, literally, it's designed for aiming at a target, a bow and arrow or a spear. You know, like you got a target with a bullseye in the middle. We get narrow vision, and we focus on that one thing, singularness of focus. It's really good, but it's really bad when it comes to being in a relationship, because if you just lock on, oh, she's the one, your brain will it's like it allows you to let her treat you like shit, and the whole time you're like, no, I'm going to make her happy, and I'm going to tell you, no, you're not. She has to find a way to make herself happy, and until that happens, I promise you, she's never going to be happy. So here's what I'm trying to say in this video. You as a male have got to stop making the mistake of locking on. Now, there's a technique I teach in my course, Cracked Female Code, about how to expand open and be internal and feel the feelings of when someone hurts you. A lot of guys are so disconnected from their feelings and emotions. It's called being dissociated. The left brain is the dissociated brain. So someone humiliates you, embarrasses you, hurts you, doesn't love you, and you just put up with it. Because you think, yeah, I'm going to fight through this. I'm going to fix this. And that's what that singularness of focus does. It's really good at staying on task. The problem is you're staying on a task that is unfixable. It's not something that you can fix. They have to want to fix it and change it. If they don't, it's not going to change. Now, there's something I call the art of letting go. When you learn how to be internal and see, you don't really expand your awareness, you let it go and it expands on its own. Here's the interesting thing. It allows you to let go of miserable people. Suddenly, okay, here's why. Because you're not so focused looking down that little tube, not seeing the bigger picture. What this art of internal awareness and letting go does, it allows you to see all the pieces, and you're like, wait, why am I putting up with all this crap? What am I getting? See, here's the thing. A lot of times you don't realize you're not getting what you want out of the relationship, and years will go by and you will be miserable until you're so miserable that you finally lose it and blow up and scream and smash shit. And then you're like, why did I put up with that all those years? It's because you were locked down in the singularness of focus, which is a very male trait. We need to teach you how to see the bigger picture. So you're like, what am I getting out of this? What about me? And here's the other thing, this internal awareness, it's what about me? All of a sudden now you're coming back to you inside your physical body, your awareness, and you're like, I don't like this. I don't feel good. You connect with the feelings and you're like, screw this. What am I getting out of this other than misery? So now you start to go, well, I want to feel good. I want to be happy. I want her to be nice to me too. And all of a sudden you start to literally become selfish, meaning you start thinking about yourself as well versus, oh, I've got to make her happy. That's the external male brain at work. It's external. I've got to fix this thing outside of me in order for me to be happy. And here's what you begin to realize when you're 35, 40, 45, 50 years old. That shit doesn't work. And all of a sudden, when you're 45 plus years old, you finally start to put yourself first. You finally start to think of yourself. And all of a sudden, younger women start to approach you. You're like, I don't understand what's going on here. And they treat you better. It's because now your focus is on you. I will teach you how to do this, and it shifts your entire reality, because the female mating system is designed to look towards you. When you look towards her, how do I fix her? How do I make her happy? Her awareness goes back to her, and now she's miserable. There's something that men do that create this misery regardless of how happy she was before she met you. There is an inherent need. It is hardwired into the female mating system, into her neurology, to meet your needs. If you are not allowing her to do this, she will be miserable. It's like you're pushing the wrong buttons. You're not letting her do what Mother Nature designed and wired into her. So when you're in your left external brain, you're pushing her away, and she's like fighting to come to you. And you're, oh, let me fix you. Let me make you happy. Believe it or not, When you're trying to make her happy, it makes her miserable. When she's working hard to make you happy, it makes her extremely happy. Here's the other thing. When you're internal and expanded wide open, it's like, you know those little bugs that go into the sand? They make like this little cone and they're underneath. It's like a sand trap. So when another bug kind of crawls over it and looks at it, it falls in and it can't get out, and this thing is underneath and grabs it. Well, it's kind of like you're building this funnel that she falls into, but she happily falls into it. Buy my book, Crack the Female Code. Go to MikeKollin.com and buy it now if you want to learn more about women. That's it, guys. Click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment, and as always, you can make a donation to this channel. There's a PayPal link right there in the description. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Remember, go to MikeKollin.com and buy my book, Crack the Female Code. It will change your life.